Animal cracker, animal cracker, animal cracker.
Well, it's worth a shot. That film is a bloody liar. Let me try another bite. Fucking hell. I mean, it's not working. I'm just eating a cracker. A little message to you kids. If a film tells you that if you eat a cracker you turn into anything, don't believe it, because the film is telling stories. Well, by the way, I didn't actually put anything on the cracker, I just ate it by itself. And also just to make a joke, which is probably not that funny. Nice cracker though. I think it's Jacob's. Where am I even going with this? Anyways, oh god. Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clayton Zoker. Welcome to another My Thoughts On, and today I'm going to be talking about animal crackers. Wait, wasn't this supposed to come out 4 years ago? And now it just came out last week? So what was all the delay? This was before COVID-19. This is weird. I haven't looked up why. I might do that after I've done this My Thoughts On. It's probably more interested in the film. Maybe. Animal crackers is basically like those... I don't know. I don't know if these exist, but I do remember they were like in a Simpsons episode, so they must have. They're like just... They're crackers that are in the size of animals, and you just eat them. How the hell do you make a whole film based on that idea? Well, they found a way. So, I don't really know that much about the film. I've heard of it. I thought it was going to come out like a few years ago, but it came out just out of nowhere on Netflix. Okay then. I don't really know that much about the film other than its celebrities like married couple John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, Ian McKellen, I think... I'm trying to think who else. Gilbert Gottfried, freaking Patrick Warburton, and Danny DeVito. Yeah, because you can't even hire like professional well, except for maybe Patrick Warburton. Everyone else is just a celebrity. And judging from the animation style, this is probably going to blow into a cracker. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. Okay, so you got this couple, Zoe, who's voiced by Emily Blunt, and Owen, voiced by John Krasinski. What a coincidence! Right, so they both work for Zoe's father, named Mr. Whitley, voiced by... I think it's Wallace Shawn or Shawn Wallace. I get the two mixed up. Because one of them's the Chaser, isn't it? I think it is Wallace Shawn. Sorry about this, let me have a look. Yeah, it's Wallace Shawn. That's also confusing. Anyway, so what does Owen do? He just tests out dog food. Gross, but okay, didn't know people do that for a job unless the film is just making up lies. And Zoe does... I honestly don't know. Anyways, they have a daughter who's just like your typical really imaginative and very active kid. So the story of this circus that Owen's was it great uncle or something? Oh god, this movie's just this is so all over the place. So there's this circus. His uncle got married to a woman. They both passed away somehow, and his brother Horatio, who's voiced by Sir Ian McKellen, decides he wants to take over the circus and get his hands on those animal crackers with the help of Mario Zakiski, voiced by Gilbert Gottfried. Like, when you hear him speak, you know who it is, so it's Gilbert Gottfried. He hires his henchmen to get these crackers, and what a coincidence, the clown Chesterfield, voiced by Danny DeVito, gives them to Owen because he's the nephew of his uncle. Because of course, this film is so coincidental that it's... Anyway, so he turns into these animals: hamster, horse, lion, elephant, you name it. And the circus is not really doing well, even if Zoe's running it. Owen comes in and performs with his animal tricks, and Horatio wants them so he can, guess what, rule the world. It's gonna be one of those fucking films, isn't it? So, the question is the story of Animal Crackers as bad as it sounds? Yes and no. Yes is, this film has the most basic, generic, and kind of dull plot where, you know, this family has, you know, this film is so all over the place that I can't even put into words. Okay, so it's kind of complicated. They have these animal crackers. One where you can turn into human, obviously, after you're an animal, and the others are like all different selections. It's not even very well explained. They just have these animal crackers, and I'm losing my mind. I literally am. So the film has a very generic, predictable plot that, I mean, as soon as you see these little scenes now and then, you know what's going to happen. The film is honestly no Pixar. I get that, but you know what's going to happen, and it's painful. The humour is honestly just very juvenile. There were a few times I did kind of laugh, kind of have a little chuckle. But you got your very typical character who has pants, and they're ripped, and their pants is either like something very flamboyant or something rude, and all that. And it has fart humour and weird humour, burp humour. Yeah. Yeah, the film was just kind of stale, and the execution of all the plot is rather weak. However, I'll give the film this. The chemistry or the relationship between Owen and Zoe, and I'm not really just saying this because of Blunt and Krasinski, since they're both actually married, they are both quite convincing as couples, or shall I say as a married couple. They're both really funny, they both sound charming, and their chemistry is probably what makes this film at least tolerable. And there are some fun sequences in the fair that makes it visually colourful and, well, fun. And I'll admit, the third act with the battle is actually kind of cool. And there are a few emotional moments that do work, but that's like 20%. The rest of it is forced and interrupted. And that's it. The writing's completely weak. It's not funny, it's not entertaining. It feels like you're watching a YouTube animated film, like something that's made for the internet. If you saw this in the cinema, God, the writing wouldn't be qualified for that. It's predictable, it's not all that funny, it does have its emotional moments, but not many. It's dull, it's really, really generic. I mean, the concept of the film sounds fun, I guess, but even the concept doesn't really make up for this really dull and just boring story. Animation. The animation is actually one of the few things that surprises me in just how bland it is. Oh, oh no, I don't mean it's bad. I've seen worse animation, but this is a rather YouTube. I'm going to keep saying this a lot, probably because it has that very generic, bland computer animation look to it. It looks like something from what, like the 2000s or something. Yeah. Positives. It's very nicely textured. I think most of the characters look pretty good, except for Owen, who looks probably the blandest. When he transforms into these animals, it's actually really smooth and creative. There are a few like genuinely beautiful shots in the film that makes it look nice to look at. I love Gilbert Godfrey's character design. I think he looks cool. Most of the characters actually look pretty nicely designed. The backgrounds is nothing special, obviously, but it's nice. Genuinely, it's a good, but not exactly great looking animated film. However, and I get this is coming from a studio that's probably not that big, or they just do low budget animation. The animation's not their fault, they're just working with what they got, and that's fine, and the animation's just fine. If this was 2D, because whenever I look at these character designs, I'm like, I can imagine these as like 2D animated characters, like Disney or something. That could work for a film like this. If this was all 2D animation, or even stop motion animate, well, 2D probably would work, but yeah, it would probably look fantastic, but for what we've got, it's fine. Some of the character designs, like I said, Owen looks very bland, Horatio looks weird, and the textures look a bit... it looks very bland and generic, and even their movements are like very stiff and cartoony, but not good cartoony. Again, the animation's not bad, it's fine, but it could have been a lot better if it was 2D. But since it's very low budget, and since it's... I mean, I'm sure they did try their best, the animators, but I'll admit, it could have been worse, but at the same time, I've seen better. Characters and acting. God. The characters are one of the few things in this film that kind of bothers me. There was not one character in the film that I found believable, except for Owen and Zoe, but that's mainly because they're voiced by, again, Blunt and Krasinski, and if it wasn't for them, they would probably be worse. You know, Owen, I think, is a decent character. You know, he has a job, and he doesn't like it, and he likes the circus. And I think, you know, he's a tolerable character, and same with Zoe. I think, again, their chemistry is really what makes the film at least watchable. And I'll give them that their child named Mackenzie, she's not annoying, she's actually kind of cute. That's expected, obviously. Chesterfield, is it Chesterfield? Chesterton? Chesterfield? The clown who's voiced by Danny DeVito. He's pretty entertaining, he's quite funny, I guess. The boss, Mr. Woodley, is just your typical father who does not approve of the married man until near the end. He can have his funny moments, but that's who he is. Brock, voiced by Patrick Warburton, and no, I am not referring to the character he voiced from the Venture Brothers. No, seriously. He actually voiced the character named Brock from the Venture Brothers from Adult Swim. Could they just come up with a better name for this character? Anyways, his character is annoying, and he's just a pompous jackass. Who else? You got the henchman, the Gilbert Godfrey character, who's actually kind of entertaining at how... Like, I love this running joke where he thinks Horatio is his henchman, and he goes, "No, you're my henchman." That's funny, because he wants to make him his henchman, because he thinks he knows everything, even though he's more goofy and dumb-witted, but he is pretty funny. Horatio is probably the only entertaining character in the film, although his motivation is very generic, like I said, taking over the world. Stupid. But his charisma, his charm, and his eagerness to get those animal crackers is fairly amusing and a bit funny. As for everyone else, like his henchmen, like Horatio's henchmen, the circus itself, even the people who owned the circus, they don't really seem to do much, but the latter actually do play a key part. They return in probably the most predictable and most basic way possible. The circus itself has Bullet Man, who is voiced by Sylvester Stallone. Seriously? Guys, Tom Kenny, Rob Pullman, Billy West, there are voice actors, you don't need... Never mind. The other circus characters are nothing interesting, and even the henchmen are just kind of generic, boring. I will say this, even if the characters are very bland and one-dimensional, the voice acting is what saves them. Krasinski and Blunt, I think, do an excellent job, because I know they're married, but they both do sound very convincing, and even Blunt's American accent is really good. Ian McKellen is a joy, as always. Patrick Warburton, even though his character is stupid, I get so much... I smile every time he opens his mouth, and every time he talks. It's wonderful. Same with Sean Wallace. Wallace Shawn. God. Gilbert Gottfried, even though the last animated film I saw him in was obviously Aladdin, and while he's not as good as he was in that film, he's still pretty entertaining. Sylvester Stallone's fine. Danny DeVito's just himself, but he's still funny. The voice acting is what saves these characters from being weak. However, the characters are still very one-dimensional and not all that interested, except for Zoe and Owen. The voice acting does save them from being animal crackers, but I'd rather crunch up the characters and save the actors for another time. Yeah, I wasn't expecting much from the film, but yeah, I can't say it's bad. It's not bad. It's a film that's, well, I wouldn't say hard to hate, but it's a film I can't say is good. But it's just kind of underwhelming. Animal Crackers is honestly just a really generic and basic animated kids film with a very predictable and very dull plot. The animation, while it looks nice, looks very bland and average looking. The characters are one-dimensional, and even some can be quite annoying or one-dimensional. However, the voice acting, some comedy, and a little bit of the animation can make it at least watchable. Unfortunately, it's not enough to save this mediocre fest. If you've got little kids, if they really want to watch something that has animals and circuses, they will like this fine. If you're an animation fan, you'll probably either like it or you won't. This film's got 60 on Metacritic, and it's got pretty mixed reviews, which is very understandable. It's not bad. I've seen worse, but this film it's very forgettable. It's not very good. What should I give the rating? I'm going to give it a 5.4 out of 10. Again, not a bad film, just really not that good. It's better than Dolittle, I guess, but Onward's better. Even Trolls World Tour I thought was pleasant. However, I forgot what rating I gave Scoob, but at least this film wasn't too... I'll give it that. It didn't rely on pop culture references or humour. It did have one instance with a selfie stick, but that's about it. I'll give it that. That you rarely see. A film that doesn't rely on selfie sticks, flossing, dabbing, or saying swag, or doing the MLG sound. I'm glad this film doesn't do that, which is good. So yeah, Animal Crackers, it is what it is, and it's just not good. It's not bad, but it's eh. Okay, so that was Animal Crackers. What do you guys think? I'm actually really curious. Have you seen it? Do you think it's good, bad, decent? Do you want to see it? Let me know below. Next up will be another requested my thoughts on, and I don't know what it will be, so just find out next. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Until next time, bye for now. Now, if you excuse me, I've got some crackers to eat.